Wake, how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you.
Yes, wisdom is going to be oozing this morning on this table.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And it's good to see you that all of you are in mint condition.
Good.
Brian Weke, we missed you. Right from Homer Bay also, Fish has been swimming. But Fish has been threatened as well. So the number of fish is really going down. Are you overfishing? Are you overfishing in Homer Bay?
As you know, we only have 6% of the lake.
6% of the lake?
Yes, we have the...
You can have 6% of the lake, but the fish can actually come to the 6%, all of it.
No. If you look at Uganda and Tanzania,
yes,
they have the lion's share of that lake.
Who petitioned the lake?
I guess it's God.
God. How?
Kenya has a really small percentage. Yeah.
Real percentage of it?
Really small percent.
But God is the one who petitions, isn't it? This continent, actually they're saying that Africa is going to be split in two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe we'll be in another continent altogether.
Yes.
But
a better continent.
But they say it will be in 10 billion years?
No. Much faster than that.
Actually, some you won't even be here, but Africa will be actually divided because the continental shift is still happening, right?
Not 10 million years.
But it amazes me, because sometimes we think that we've grasped the breadth and the length of what the world is and the galaxies, and we keep on getting new information. Like I was learning also, there's a new planet that has been discovered where it is full of iron. And it actually trains iron. It trains titanium.
I
want to go there. And
man has refused to accept that it's a tiny little thing.
It's a tiny. You cannot actually. Let's just accept we cannot. What we know is just but a slice.
And that we are also tiny.
And we also are just a
so
tiny
when I see
planet.
people fighting over power in a small, poor, dirty country like this, I can't understand it.
And they say that the sun.
They think Kenya is a very small country. The world is even a very small place. Why do we want to kill ourselves?
Why do we want to kill ourselves? We're just a fleeting breath here that cannot be blown away by God. But they say also the sun is still swelling, as many of the stars are swelling, and when they swell, they gobble up. In one fell swoop, a planet. So in many years' time as well, the earth will just be swallowed up by the sun, and you disappear. Martin, where will you be? Do you think about your the metaphysical part of your life, or you're just here for the good?
I am content with the way things are for now. God has created us, created the world the way it is.
Allow me just put this down.
Please, we don't have an idea what else is out there. I know that the scientists and people who look into the future, like my brother Herman here, are busy trying to imagine that there's another world we shall go to in this form that we have. Certainly not my theology. It tells me that I will not go there in this form.
Yes.
So I'll go in a different form.
If you'll go at all.
I will go. Yeah.
And you'll not be doing a political analysis.
And there will be no political analysis there.
So you better exhaust your political analysis.
And that's why I'm always telling my brother, my Mheshimiwa here, that his PhD is for here. So he must finish it here. Because you cannot go to heaven to do PhD there. No.
Kifuta Rapkirwa, your PhD is just for here. So make sure you celebrate and you pop the champagne and the confetti. In heaven we won't need wherever you will go. But you need to think about it wherever you will be, if there is that, or if you believe also in another world.
Well, I think it's useful also that when you get your PhD or when you get whatever achievement in life, you make use of it.
Yes.
And for the good of mankind and for the good of the world. Because at the end of the day, there are so many of our scholars and our leaders who aspire to certain positions of leadership, but when they get there, their capacity is wanting. And that is what worries me. Every day I wake up to hear people talk, to hear people postulate on what they want to do, and later on when they achieve that high pedestal, they behave as if they own the world. That's my worry. Yeah.
That's your worry. Brian Weke, has also been piling up on degrees after degrees as well. And we just want to remind you that
He's
even
now
they say that
concentrating on the streets.
too much
He's
learning.
now concentrating on the streets.
It's not concentrating
That's
on
why
the
he's
streets.
getting his degrees now.
On a serious note, this country spends a lot of resources on people trying. People spend money. And money you spend is not necessarily your money. Because if it is not spent well, then you are not helping the country and the economy to grow. A lot of money spent by people on so-called education would have been spent better elsewhere. Would have gone into saving and would have grown the economy. There are lots of people who really have to go for degrees because nobody appreciates the work they are doing at the station they are working. So that if you are a police officer, you cannot just be promoted into a good cop and appreciated and rewarded and even promoted and given a pay increase until you must go and do some useless degree, which has no value to you, not the police service. And the same, you can go on and on in teaching. There are very good teachers at primary school level who would not be appreciated, would not be promoted until they go and do some useless degree, which is not even useful to them, doesn't make them better teachers, doesn't help the country to grow. I think we have to think about, and Moi talked about it. He said you can get to the highest level as a teacher while you are in the classroom. Before that, all our good teachers, we lost them, you remember, to Jogo House. In other words, you become a principal of Kakamega High School and you are a VD. There's nothing ahead for you. You are brought to Jogo House. So Moi changed it, that you can be a teacher and rise to the highest rank. What happens in your field in places like America? Some of these people you see as journalists, just journalists and reporters, are highly paid. So that we know you are a good reporter. We don't need to pluck you from being a reporter to bring you in some air-conditioned office to be signing vouchers. You get what I'm saying? You are appreciated where you are. You are well paid where you are. I think we need to move in that direction. So a lot of the money Kenyans are using to get useless education, useless qualifications, which won't make them better people where they are. That money can be used to grow the economy.
You don't think he has a point, because we need to re-engineer our thinking as well about academia. But first of all, getting a degree or maybe piling up on the degree, they take it to be a launching pad for you. To other
this thing was a problem in the
1960s. They just want to know, do you have a degree? Or do you have a master's degree?
1970s and 60s, we had what was called the diploma disease,
Yeah.
where everybody thought you have to have a degree. So it surprises me and even saddens me that so many years later, when the world is moving away from examinations and certifications to really task somebody
Skills
can do. There are many jurisdictions in the world where you go to a company, nobody cares what certificate you have. Is what you can do while you are there. Some things you'll be trained on the job. Adaptability, trainability. Those are the things the world is moving into.
I don't think Dr. Kipruto Rapkiro will be happy with what you're saying. And
he knows what I'm saying.
With his pursuit of
I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Even though man has spent all his time in academia, and therefore he has no reason to demean academia.
But it's not demeaning.
Wait,
education.
Yes. There's no useless degree. There's no useless degree. Every degree is important and useful. It depends on what you are getting. And it's not again about the degree itself. It's the education, the knowledge that you acquire. Having said that, I didn't know that Hamania was a Moi orphan. He's already, he's thinking nostalgically about the Moi era and so on. But be that as it may, we are who we are. I think we tinker a lot with our education. We have been tinkering a lot with our education policy. But that is because we think we are looking for a solution. So whether CBC, whether 844, whether 73, whatever it was, 732, whatever, and then 3. So the point I'm making is that we are in that place where we are busy looking and finding what we think is ideal for us. Teachers or anybody, and indeed I want to encourage Mheshimiwa here, anybody who feels that they need to upgrade their skills They upgrade their knowledge. It's not because you are looking for a job, Mheshimiwa, but you are searching for knowledge. You are building up a stock of understanding in order for you to be functional in terms of your contribution to your grandchildren, to the society, to the Nandi nation. So I think education is good. Haman here is revered back in his village just because of his education. So I want to encourage you to pursue it. Mr. Weke, Brian Weke, I think you can pursue even the street one. I have no problem as long as wisdom comes through. And sometimes it's wisdom even in the streets.
But I think this guy, Deba, he missed the point.
Let me defend the professor.
I created the context.
First of all, Martin, Dr. Martin, is quoting professor out of context.
Correct.
And that is the reason why he has a lot of disrespect. He's calling a whole professor Haman. Yeah. You know.
What is my brother?
No.
What is Haman?
You know. When professor says, uses the word useless degrees, he does not mean that the degrees are useless.
Correct.
He means that those particular degrees that are being sought by those people does not help them in furtherance of
anything,
their duties. For instance, if you're a police officer, then there are certain degrees that you need to undertake to help you execute your duties as a police officer. And that is what the professor is saying. And that's where we do not get it right as a country. For instance, as you can see, this country is building massively. Why run to do a degree, yet there's a lot of plumbing jobs? Why run to do a degree while there are a lot of technical jobs? For instance, guys who have done lighting,
yes,
name it, internet, technical stuff. So we need to match what we need as a country and what we need to train people on.
Indeed.
On the other end, Professor also has not been kind to us because please, they give us a lot of exams.
Yes. but you see,
which does not really help us. So you cram to pass an exam. Then when you give it a technical job, you cannot
do anything.
Because they are killing us with the cramming exams.
What I wanted to encourage Brian about is that even plumbing requires skills development, and you can have a degree in plumbing.
Yeah.
So you don't just have to be condemned with a certificate. So you can keep on improving. Indeed, if you know about Konza City, our first university that is concentrating on just helping people with skills to advance to a degree level, even a master's level, is called the KAIST, the Kenya Institute of Advanced Science and Technology. It's actually based on the South Korean version, where actually the LGs and Samsungs are actually produced from the KAIST, the advanced. So I know that because
look here, Deba.
But
Deba, there's something small here.
Yes.
In the past 20 years or so, we have demolished what were once very useful and functional colleges and technical institutes and turned them into universities.
And still they want to also turn the polytechnics to technical universities
Egerton
right now.
was a very good college offering agriculture at various levels. It's gone. You can go on. A very nice technical college in Eldoret was turned into a university. I once went there to give a lecture, and I was talking in a place with Bunsen burners, taps, which means it was a lab. And I was talking things far removed from science. That is what I'm talking about. Today, if Martin is in the village and his car breaks down, he will agree with me. He will not get somebody to handle that car, even if it is a sinful car. If you are home and you want to fix your water, and he will attest to that in the village, there's nobody who can do it. This country has room for technical persons, skilled, semi-skilled, small. But we believe that you can only be somebody if you have a degree. And once you have one, you are on the road of becoming somebody if you get another one. That is what I was addressing. And I was saying, let's have a quest for relevance.
Indeed. Because also the marketplace is suffering from, the matching of the skills. You have all these graduates coming from universities, and federal.
Granted, it's not a
they-
Kenyan problem. I've
Yes.
done a research. It's not necessarily a Kenyan problem. Even in Europe, a lot of the people who are now working, they are doing things that are completely different from that which they learned at the university. So that the world is moving towards real adaptability.
And people should be open to that as well.
Yeah.
That yes,
You
what you're
can-
learning
can-
is
yeah,
not
yeah.
sometimes what you.
But
might be
we
doing
are
at the end of
I
the
was
day.
just say for Martin's sake, I was saying we are over focusing on the degree for the sake of the degree.
Right.
It must be a degree, like he says,
And-
that serves a purpose.
But CBC
if you are
is
a
meant
police
to
officer,
secure this.
if you are a police officer, you need not necessarily get a degree. We must have some in-service, fresher courses, some trainings you can get as a police officer to become a better police officer. Nothing stops you from pursuing knowledge for the sake of knowledge, from pursuing degree because you want knowledge,
But I wanted
not so that you are promoted.
Yeah, you heard what Dr.
Yeah,
Martin
yeah,
was
that's-
saying.
I was just
that you're
correcting.
condemned with a certificate.
Yes.
And this is the mentality we want to displace in this country.
Yes.
That having a certificate and not a degree is a condemnation. Yeah, I think even you need to correct that particular
No,
mentality.
no,
you're taking. Or you don't have to be condemned.
The point
Getting a
I'm making-
certificate cannot be a condemnation.
No, the point I'm making,
Because
is,
if you're a plumber, in the universities we are centering ourselves on the STEMs, the science, the mathematics, and the technical bit of it, but we're not even taking cognizance of the plumbers that now we lack certification. They are the artisans in the market. How then will we say that they're condemned? Yet even the education system has not been accommodating this.
I didn't use the word condemn, but if you say I used it, I must withdraw it.
You heard him use it.
No, I must
Isn't
withdraw
it?
it. What I was saying is this.
Martin is such a lawyer.
We do have, if I used it, I
You will
must
defeat
withdraw
all of us.
He says that I didn't use the word
I didn't use
condemn.
it.
I just heard him say,
it. I did not use it. The point I was making is that there is room for all of us as Kenyans. Degree holders, non-degree holders, there's room for us. Some of the things that my brother Herman is talking about have to do with how we ourselves conceptualize and perhaps want to think of ourselves. I have no problem with a teacher in a classroom wanting to improve the certificate to a diploma to a degree, as long as that gives them a sense of satisfaction. I have no problem with a plumber growing from a certificate to a degree. It is all a stage of specialization, and that is learning. Today, when you go to countries like Britain and even in the US and so on, and Canada, they lack the technical skills for the fact that their emphasis has been on these other softer skills. And so when they're looking for technical people, or today if you have technical skills, you find that you're more marketable. A plumber is more marketable. A nurse is more marketable. Because they are lacking people who can take care of their soft side of things and some technical side of things. So for me, we have an opportunity to improve ourselves, but I don't think that we're in a bad place. We are trying out, we're experimenting, and there's nothing wrong with experimenting. I don't think that you can, I wanted to use condemn, but I produced I don't think that you can blame us for not knowing, because in the not knowing and in the pursuing the various things that we're pursuing, perhaps we'll get there. Today we are talking about bridging courses. At some point we had refused bridging courses. At some point we said if you do not have a C+, then you don't go to the university. So what we are saying is that if you had not scored C+, then it meant that you would not have a chance to improve yourself. Now we are saying no, you can actually improve, you can grow, and you can do that. My brother here knows that there is somebody like Professor Karega Mutahi. He never had what you call those formal qualifications, but that never stopped him from searching academic or other education until he grew up to the professor level. So there are many.
I interviewed one, I think some years back.
Even
Such a
Mazuri.
keen, sharp mind.
Yeah. And yet, if you are looking for those qualifications of C+ and whatnot, he didn't come through that way. But he came through because he was still a very talented person. So we must give room.
Does he keep his afro? I left him with a big
I haven't
afro
seen him
still.
in a long time, but age must also have caught up with him.
All right.
Yes, Dibar.
Yes.
It's a product of our social dynamics. What does our society tell us? It's also a product of misplaced policy. Because even when we are talking of TVETs, what kind of policy have you churned out in terms of what is the practical qualification that somebody doing a job at a constituency level needs to have in terms of certification for purposes of ensuring that we improve quality. But overall, I just want to say the following. Kenya is not badly off. The number of certificates that we have, they have a direct bearing on the level of interaction that we engage with the rest of the world. And therefore, I just want to disabuse my good friend, Herman Manyora, that there is no qualification that is useless. I've done a number of courses with diploma, degree, in different fields, international relations, issues of governance and leadership, but I may not be the best example because my qualifications have nothing to do with the job market. I was already employed at the highest level as a minister before I got some of the qualifications that I have. And I don't think my performance was wanting. But the more I go to school, the more I realize that there is a yawning gap of knowledge that I need to fill. The more we do in terms of research, we realize there is that yawning gap. What we need to do as a country is to be able to identify the capacity that we have, and we see how we can usefully engage that kind of capacity so that without condemning any level of education, we see how do we improve on it to get to the next level, and how do we make use of those who are already working, so that it is not just a degree, but it must be relevant degree to the field that we are in. And that also sets the issue of curriculum. If you go through the history of education, we've been doing what I say political switching from one program to the other. Like now, we are talking of CBC. But what was the problem with 844? Many of the graduates that we have in this town, many of the working class are people of 844. The only problem is we did not implement 844 fully. When we started 844, we are talking of having workshops that were going to deal with certain aspects of education. We are going to be able to move from one level to the other. But in between, other more interesting things came in, and we forgot about the implementation of 844. So those are some of the problems. It has nothing to do with somebody having education. In Africa, we could easily be ranking very high if there was proper assessment of the level of education that we are in. In the human resource context, I think we must be ranking the highest in Africa. And that should not be a problem. It should be an advantage that where do we export? In the next 30 years or so, there will be so many people required in the world to work. And Africa seems to be the supplier. What quality of people are we going to supply to the rest of the world in the next 30 years?
Indeed. Haman, if I may just come back to you as well, because I think Haman is putting on the table a very interesting conversation, and we should not really take it lightly, because we are in a tearing rush to go to politics. And we know, yes, if we don't really have our education right as well, even the politics will really suffer at the end of the day. Haman is raising the issue of you don't have necessarily to have a degree because it is required in the market. You can have a degree because for the purely interest that you want to learn and know. That it doesn't have to mean that if you need a job, then you must get this particular qualification. Well, it is good to, but besides that, you can even add on your degree because you have a quest for knowledge.
Yes.
But the diploma disease that you were talking of 1976, that I think was being raised by Robert somebody. What was his name again?
McNamara.
Yes, that we have it here in the country with a degree right now.
Yes.
But if we take a projection, maybe to 50 years from now or 40 years from now, everyone will be a degree holder in this country. Everyone will be a PhD holder.
Which is good.
Yeah, which is very good. But
Yes.
now the question
That
will
is a
be
good index.
that it will be a good index.
Yes.
Now everyone will be a PhD holder, will be doctors here.
Yes.
Brian is on his way, maybe even me, I don't know.
Yeah, of
But
course.
no. Yeah,
It
God
takes
willing.
reading. Don't go
It
and
takes
buy
reading.
one. Don't go and buy one.
Yes.
So